Hey, what's up guys? It's the final round and my name is Jordan. This is a channel where the episodes come out the day before the lines hit. I just give you opportunities, and when the lines do drop, we discuss them in the Discord. The link is in the description. As they come out, there's good, great discussion about the lines, what to stay away from, who's going with what. And I think it's very, very helpful for the community to get together like that. I don't charge for picks. I do give out a lot of picks, but I don't want to charge for them. It doesn't make sense to me if for you to pay for something that you don't know if it's going to work or not. So with that, I accept donations. I have Cash App and Venmo. Links in the description. It's final round 11. If you can't use those, there's also a super thanks button on YouTube, but YouTube takes 30%. So if you do well with information I give you and you want to give back, you don't have to, but if you just feel like giving back, you can use those to donate and help me out. Also, if you want to try an alternative to Prizepicks or Underdog Fantasy, you can look at JOCKMarket. I did a video about it. I'm trying to get referrals, and they could possibly sponsor me in a couple weeks if I get enough referrals. So you can check that out if you want to. And today I also dropped another comedy skit. I've done 2 comedy skits this past week that are about player props and using Prizepicks and dealing with Prizepicks. I'm gonna put them up here. If you want to, just go through my videos, look for parentheses comedy, and I think you guys will really like those skits. They're pretty funny and people seem to love them. So if you can, please like the video. If you haven't, subscribe to the video. And by the time you're watching this, it'll be Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So I think it'd be respectful if you have a little bit of extra time, leave a comment in the comment section for the algorithm. Let's leave the word dream there in respects to Martin Luther King Jr. and what he did for this nation. So with that, let's get into it. Pick number 1. Hey guys, I know when the number 1 pops up on the screen, a lot of people skip to it. So hello to the almost 50% that skip to this. Pick number 1 will be love. Since it's going to be Martin Luther King Jr. Day when you're watching this, I want you to pick love above all else. Love your neighbor. It doesn't matter what they look like. Share the love to your neighbor. Your neighbor it doesn't have to be the person living next to you. It can be the person you're talking to in a Discord or in a chat. Or if you've ever paid for the person behind you in the drive-thru, it's an awesome feeling. Even though you never get to see their reaction, it just feels good. So my first pick will be love and love your neighbor. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. Would want for us. And my first basketball pick, I'm looking at Robert Williams up against the Hornets. It's the same matchup, Celtics, Hornets. I know a lot of you guys went with Al Horford and his rebounds. If they have his rebounds line as low as it was before, I think it was like 6.5. Feel free to take that. I feel like it might go up a little bit, but Robert Williams did rebound really well, and the Hornets really struggle against centers. They give up the second most points, the most rebounds, and the second most blocks to the center position, and Robert Williams has 7 points, 8 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks over his last 5 road games. So in that game against the Hornets, I know everyone was putting it on Al Horford. If Robert Williams even gets some props, hopefully they put some out there. He had 6 points and 12 rebounds in that Hornets game. So if they do put props out there for him, definitely look at the rebounds or just overall fantasy points, because he can get a lot of blocks. If not, then the other option would be Al Horford. Just make sure his lines aren't bumped up. And my second pick, this guy is questionable. It's Lauri Markkanen up against the Timberwolves. They have Markkanen listed as a power forward now, and the Timberwolves give up the most points, the 5th most assists, the 4th most 3-pointers made, the 4th most fantasy points to the power forward position. And Lauri Markkanen has 32.5 points, 8 rebounds and 1 assist over his last 5 road games. So this is if he plays and he's healthy. He's got a great matchup up against the Timberwolves with points and 3-pointers made. He likes to shoot a lot of 3-pointers. I know his points prop's going to be around 26, but I'm still liking it if he suits up. My third and fourth pick, I'm not sure what the Lakers lineup is going to look like tomorrow because they are going to be playing a back-to-back, but they are playing the Houston Rockets. And I'm going to say it every time, the Rockets suck against the point guard position. They give up the most points, most assists, most 3-pointers, most steals, most fantasy points against the point guard position. So I'm looking at both point guards. Dennis Schroeder, he has 16 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds over his last 5 home games. And I'm also looking at Russell Westbrook, who may not play, or Schroeder may not play. I'm not sure what the outlook's going to be, but whoever's playing point guard, we want to look at his props. And Russell Westbrook over his last 5 home games has 18.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. So that's picks 3 and picks 4 up against the Rockets. I'm just going to put those together. And my 5th pick, the Lakers aren't good against point guards on the other side. They give up the 2nd most points and the 3rd most fantasy points to the point guard position. So I'm looking at Jalen Green. He wasn't on the injury report. The only Rockets player in the injury report was Kevin Porter Jr. He is questionable, so keep an eye on him. If Kevin Porter Jr. is out, then I feel like Jalen Green's going to take all the shots, and he's definitely going to hit the over for his points. He has 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists over his last 5 road games. So definitely keep an eye on Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green didn't play the last game. If he is for some reason out and we don't have Kevin Porter Jr., don't have Jalen Green, then look at Eric Gordon. If it's the other way around, Jalen Green's out and Kevin Porter Jr. comes back, then look at Kevin Porter Jr. It's just whoever gets that point guard position is going to score a lot of points. My 6th pick, he's also questionable. Rudy Gobert up against the Jazz. The Jazz are not good against the center position. They give up the most points, the 5th most rebounds, the 3rd most assists, and the 2nd most fantasy points to the center position. And Rudy Gobert has 12 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks over his last 5 home games. So if Rudy Gobert doesn't suit up, the center taking his place, his name is Naz Reid. If he gets props, he could be a very sneaky play for points or rebounds. Naz Reid is actually a decent player whenever he gets time. I like Naz Reid. So if Rudy Gobert is out, look for Naz Reid, and you might get some sneaky, easy props to pick the over on. My 7th pick, I'm looking at Kavon Looney against the Wizards. The Wizards give up the 4th most points to the center position. And Kavon Looney, they have his points prop very low. It's like 6.5 recently, or 7.5, and he's been hitting it. He's had 8.5 points and 8 rebounds and 2 assists over his last 5 road games. So I'm just strictly looking at the points. Wizards are average against everything else. So we'll take a look at the points prop. My 8th pick, I haven't picked this guy yet, but I'm looking at OG Anunoby against the Knicks. The Knicks give up the 5th most points, the 7th most rebounds, the 3rd most assists, and the 6th most fantasy points to the small forward position. And I thought it was Scotty Barnes that was a small forward position, but I looked at their depth chart and he was playing power forward, and it's OG Anunoby. Scotty Barnes did have a good game last game, but Anunoby's been playing well. He has 16.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists over his last 5 road games. So with the Knicks giving up so many to points, rebounds, and assists, this could be a really good spot for PRA. But of course, take a look at the lines, compare it to his averages, and see if you can find a soft spot when the lines do come out. And my 9th pick, I know I'm bouncing around games, but my 9th pick, I'm looking at Kristaps Porzingis up against the Warriors. The Warriors give up the 6th most points to the power forward position, and Porzingis has 22 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 1.2 assists over his last 5 home games. So I'm definitely looking at that points prop. We'll see where it comes in at. If it's at like 19.5, around 20 points, I think Porzingis is in a really good spot to hit that. And also a sneaky one, I found it and I played it and I hit it. I said Porzingis was getting 1.2 assists a game. They had his assist line at 2.5, so he needed 3 assists, and he's been hitting the under on that a lot. He got 1 assist the last game. So you can take a look at that one, might be a sneaky play. And also, if his props are available, the other power forward that comes in for him is very talented. His name's Rudy Hachimura. I doubt he'll get any lines unless Porzingis is ruled out, but Rudy Hachimura does play very well. So just keep an eye out for his props for scoring. My 10th pick, I'm looking at Bam Adebayo up against the Hawks. The Hawks give up the 8th most points, the 8th most rebounds, the 7th most blocks, and the 6th most fantasy points to the center position. And Bam has 27 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists over his last 5 road games. So with him giving up blocks and a lot of fantasy points, this could be a good spot where you just look at his points and rebounds, or you could go with the overall fantasy with the chance of him getting a lot of defensive stats to add on to that. So we'll see where his lines come out at. With him averaging 27 points, if his line comes out, in the lower 20s, that might just be a good spot just for points if you want to look at that. My 11th pick, he's back. I said to stay away from him last time because he had a really bad matchup. Brook Lopez has a really good matchup this time for rebounding. The Pacers give up the 2nd most rebounds and the 4th most fantasy points to the center position. And Brook Lopez has 14 points, 8 rebounds, and almost 3 blocks over his last 5 home games. So I mentioned his rebounds. They've been having his rebounding prop around 6.5, which seems low. So if it stays there, that's going to be a good play. But with him getting so many blocks and the Pacers giving up the 4th most fantasy points, this could be a really good spot for fantasy points as well for Brook Lopez. And my 12th pick, I don't do this often. I did it with Brook Lopez and it paid off. He hit the unders. But Pascal Siakam has a terrible matchup. The Knicks give up the least points, the 3rd least rebounds, the 6th least assists, and the least fantasy points to the center position. So all the stat categories that Siakam likes to fill up. And his lines might be high because he has played somewhat well. He has 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists over his last 5 road games. So if they still have his props, his points up there around 27 and his rebounds up there around 8 and his assists up there at like 6.5, this could be a good spot to take the under for his PRA, or if you can find a good spot for just one of those stats. But this is just a terrible matchup for Pascal Siakam. So those are my 12 picks. Thank you guys all for your donations that you've given me when you do well. I know I put in 16 picks and they actually, a lot of them did very, very well or came like just short. That was crazy. But the whole point of this is to give you just as many opportunities as I can find. You go with what you feel you're most comfortable with. You make that decision on your own. You can pick out a few and you can bet those when the lines come out, and hopefully you do really well. So God bless you all, and remember to put dream in the comment section for respects for Martin Luther King Jr. and what he did, for standing up and giving a voice to people who didn't have a voice at that time. So my name is Jordan. It's the final round. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye.